with people who are getting terrified, it sometimes gets really interesting because there is this whole group of people among bookbinders and book-related people who preach that all old books should be handled only in gloves. And then all professional book workers say that, well, yeah, there are certain occasions when you need to work with books in gloves, but on most occasions, gloves prevent you from feeling different things and working more precisely. So you have more chance to damage a book working in gloves than when working without gloves. So no, that's a wrong point of view, and you shouldn't just take it on on your as a fact. But these people continue to pursue every post with professionals handling books without gloves, and this is wrong. You shouldn't do that.
There's definitely an like there's such an attitude of that in so many things in books, and I would definitely say in photography. I've had a number of in photography, yes, it's important to have gloves, but like the gloves that some people show up with are not the gloves in question that they should use. So 100% cotton gloves, like, well, at times quite good. Then it's like, well, do you want to use like really kind of burnished gloves so you make sure you don't create scratches on the emulsion? You shouldn't be touching the emulsion anyway. Do you there's so many, like, it depends on the situation. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if you don't know what situation you're in, or you don't know, you don't have the training to do it, just don't do it. Somebody who does have the training will know how to do it and will be able to guide you. And you can call people. I mean, this is something that I think we get a lot of emails and calls about how best to handle something, where I'm like, look, I don't even need to go there. I can just tell you what to do. But it's that terrified feeling is really rough. In fact, the worst situation I had of it was one time at John Jones, where this guy had come in with one of the most incredible daguerreotypes of his family from Sweden in I think it's 18, it was really early daguerreotype. And he had kept it in the dark in a closed room because it had kind of split from its frame. There was some kind of damage to it, and it was no longer sealed. So he was really afraid of the light, but he didn't think about the oxidation. So he left it in this room unsealed for, I think it was 10 years, and then brought it to us and was like, I don't know why it's still fading. Is it just because it's old? I don't understand what's going on with this mirroring. And I had to tell him, it's good that you kept it in the dark, but you should have brought it to somebody, because at this point it's already too far gone to really preserve. And there were faces just completely gone at that point. And so we did our best to seal it and then reframe it in a way where it had a little curtain. It was really cute. It was really nice because he was still scared about the light. We were like, I don't think the light would have done as much as the air did. So yeah,
temperature and whatnot. So there's a lot of things that contribute to.
Yeah, most of the conservators who I worked with, at least in the U.S., be it in DC or New York, definitely had there's a complex, I think, that they have in the U.S. about it being very scientific and expressing everything with a hugely vast chemical knowledge, which I think is amazing. But I've been told, and I have noticed that it definitely stems from this concept of conservators pre-1980 were considered basically cleaners. You were just a really good cleaner, or a collection manager or custodial kind of concept, which is weird because it had a big spike in the early 20th century. There was a lot of very famous collection managers, curators, and conservators who were kind of emerging, and not proper conservators, restorers, but at the time that was what it was. And then this kind of decline, and I don't know why. I've never found out myself, but yeah, there's definitely that attitude, and it comes a lot with that whole the fact that conservation studios within institutions are usually in basements. for protection of objects from light and things like that. But that's where most custodial services happen as well. Logistics, everything like that. So at least when I was at Smithsonian, it was like us, the photography studio, exhibition design, like as in paper conservation and all the different conservation groups, and then janitorial services. And then you would go upstairs and like see the light, and that's where like the curators live. And it was this very like weird upstairs, downstairs kind of vibe. I don't know if that's really sexist. That's just more the attitude of being taken seriously. But yeah, so I think that probably contributes a lot to that whole ethics discussion of like really trying to explain and be proper in our method so that we can, you know, really not just be putzing around cleaning stuff. It's a little bit more detailed than that.
Yeah, it certainly is more like we have to explain ourselves, or not explain ourselves, but we have to justify.
That's a lot of explaining.
Yeah, but I think for better word, I think it's just justify our existence as conservators, just to, because people are like, what are you doing? Who are you, and why are you telling me that this has to happen this way?
Why do you get to touch stuff? Why do you get to touch it? Always a question.
Oh yeah, I love it. That's another reason why I love going to conservation, because I got to touch stuff.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest reason why we went into this. We got to touch the stuff
because, you know, we like, I'm the conservator. I get to handle this, and you don't.
Yeah, but there's a lot of chemical, like, I mean, the thing is, it's like, okay, you get to touch the art. Why? It's like, because I had to endure, you know, organic chemistry to know how to touch this thing, to like really be allowed. Like, it comes with its drawbacks at times, but it's still very, very satisfying. So.
And to go back to the whole glove situation, if your hands are clean, I don't see why you can't handle something. As long as your hands are clean and washed, like, it's fine. And
this really is like COVID. It's like, just wash your hands. Just wash your hands.
Yeah.
And then just don't touch your face.
Yeah.
Exactly. After you touch the object, don't lick your fingers and don't touch your face, because, well,
oh god,
yeah,
there may be poison on this old book.
Yeah.
I was just reading this blog about biocodicology actually just this morning, and they were saying that on this book they found, aside from human DNA, they also found Streptococcus and another microbe that causes acne. So I'm like, basically, yeah, you touch and I was just thinking about pimples popping on my face. Like, this is just and Staphylococcus, which is like horrendous. And so, you know, you just just hands, and again, just wash it after handling the document, especially if it's not clean.
And what about the time frame? I mean, from most of the materials you work with, I assume, are not modern, so they are at least, say, 100 years old. But how much older do they get? Paper appeared like 900 years ago in Europe.
Well, in Europe, not in Europe, it's like 2000 years or something.
You know, that's actually a really good question. I'm trying to think of what the oldest thing is that we've worked on. I mean, obviously, yes, paper spans, you know, nearly 1,000 years at this point, but I think the stuff that we work on is actually even more modern than 100 years old. I mean, you'd be surprised the amount of damage that modern papers endure, especially. But I guess the oldest thing would be, for me at least, was like, I guess 1600s, 1600s, drawings, and very notably currency in the US. So like some of the earliest currencies. But I think, Angie, you probably would have worked with older things.
Oh, I don't remember. I mean, during studying in Greece, we did work on some quite old material, but it was so many years ago I can't even remember. But it's generally 19th century items that are more common that you can find and that you can work with. Yeah, but I honestly have no recollection of the dates back then.